Well, good morning, everyone, here from Africa, Djuma Game Reserve, and good evening, where you might be sitting. You are so welcome on safari this morning. What a brilliant start, even though that was from last night. We just thought if you'd missed it, you might want to start or share that with us. It was a brilliant evening last night. A lot of patience with the lion paid off nicely in the end with that beautiful roar. Truly one of the most amazing sounds to not only hear but experience on safari. It's a stunning morning. Lots to look forward to. We are looking for those lions at the moment. The trackers and James are out there looking as well. Many things happening. It's going to be lovely as always on safari. Lots to look forward to. We are looking for those lions at the moment. The trackers and James are out there looking as well. Many things happening. It's going to be lovely as always on safari. You never know what's going to happen.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live. You are live.
Welcome to the magnificent Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in the famous Sabi Sands. It's part of the Greater Kruger National Park in northeastern South Africa, more than twice the size of Yellowstone National Park, and is home to all of Africa's iconic animals. This is Safari Live. Welcome everyone to the biggest safari vehicle on the planet. My name's Hayden Turner. I've got two vehicles out, a drone in the sky, trackers out since dawn, and a bushwalk with Scott. Can't wait to get you guys into this. You can interact with us through Twitter at #SafariLIve, but we've got something really fantastic and fun happening through this as well. It's a game called Safari Bingo, and if you want to know more information about it, go to the website WildSafariLIve.com and you'll get all the terms and conditions and rules. It's really, really good fun, and the prize is this: a trip for two to the Serengeti to see one of the greatest wildlife spectacles on the planet, the wildebeest migration. Now, that line last night was unbelievable. I'm just going to quickly do something here and show you. I've got a map here that's got all the guys out in. It's a live map. It tells me where all the vehicles are. We are looking for lion. We are looking for leopard. It's very, very exciting. But also, we've got Scott with something really, really beautiful. Let's cross over and see what he's up to.
I'm not too sure what's up ahead of us here. We've heard lions roaring this morning, and that's why we've come into this area. Hopefully we're going to find them, but we need to remember that there's other animals out here. And what I can hear up ahead sounds like something quite big moving through the bush. I can just hear the odd branch breaking. But we're going to go ahead and take a closer look. Just please try and be careful and quiet, rather, as we move through this bush. I've got a bag full of ash, and the wind is in our favor. It's blowing gently away from us. So whatever is up ahead of us won't be able to smell us. Let's go and take a closer look what it could be. This is so exciting. And my name is Scott, if you haven't met me before. I've got Jandre on camera. And it's a huge privilege to be taking you on a walk through the African wilderness. Now we've got a nice big termite mound ahead of us here, which will provide good cover in case something does go wrong. And if anything does happen, it's important that we stand our ground and you just listen to me. I'll talk you through what we need to do. Now, I think we're going to get a view of whatever this animal is fairly shortly. We were close to that noise. We've been slowly creeping up and creeping closer. Take a closer look up ahead there. It's a massive elephant bull. It's moving through some quite thick bush. but you'll probably be able to see its ivory glistening. It's got massive tusks, and that's probably the most part of the elephant you can see. Let's try and get a little bit closer. The wind is still in our favor. It's got no idea that we're here. And now you've got a better view as it moves into this gap. But come along, we've got a lot of cover between us and him. And we're going to be able to get you some great views. And Jay's just asked a question on Twitter. This is a live interactive safari, and it's good to have you with us, Jay. He would like to know, what is the most dangerous encounter I've ever had whilst on safari? And Jay has actually been with elephants. A lot of people think that lion and leopard are the most dangerous of the animals. There's another one. Two big bulls. Come down. It's just up ahead of us. Again, it's in some quite thick bush, but it's probably only about 30 or 40 meters away. It's got no idea we're here. And it's also massive, probably a 6-ton animal. I want to creep up to a little termite mound. We're going to be able to get you some better views. And while we're creeping ahead, we're going to send you across to Pieter. Jay, good to have you with us on safari.
Well, I almost feel like I should say good morning again. It is always at the beginning of a show. It's so exciting when everyone joins us. We've just got an hour in the bush, so there's lots to look forward to, lots of things to look for, and it's going to be busy. We're sitting with a herd of ellies. We were actually sitting with them just now when we said hello, but they were off in the thickets. As on foot there with Scott just now, you know, sometimes you get great views and sometimes you have to move a little bit again. Very exciting seeing them on foot. This herd as well, it's quite a few of them. Guessing about 15, I haven't actually counted, but we have been sitting with them for a little bit, so they are quite used to us, and we're going to move around a little bit. With elephants especially, one of my favorite things to do is to spend time with them, not just have a quick look, but actually integrate yourself into the herd a little bit, let them sort of accept you, and then you can sometimes get great interaction. The little ones will come and play with you, will come and interact with you. Those baby ellies, well, all the elephants, but especially the babies, very intelligent, very curious. With a little bit of luck, we might even have one or two of them coming to look at us, just the same way we're looking at them. Guys, also keep in mind, it's fantastic to have a talk on safari. That's always what you do. You chat not only about the weather, and it's nice and cool, which, by the way, it is today. We've got quite a cool morning for the bush here, but also just about safari and the bush and, you know, life in general, and certainly about elephants. So if you have some questions, hashtag SafariLIVE, that'll come through to us, and we'll get them on the vehicle and we can talk to each other as well. So please remember that. And, yeah, just a fantastic day. I'm going to go a little bit closer. There were already a few of those young ellies that were sort of looking at us earlier. By the way, ellies is just a sort of, let's call it colloquial slang. So ellies would be like a shortened version for elephant. Obviously African elephant. We don't get the Asian elephant here. This is the African elephant, the one with the big ears, and the one that lives in Africa, which is where we are at the moment. Just as I mentioned earlier, just to give an idea of what you could expect, that lion that we started with, or shall I say that lion that we ended with last night on the drive, we are looking for lion at the moment. If there's any updates whatsoever, we'll get you there as soon as we can. And in the meantime, let's just enjoy this elephant. We're going to integrate ourselves a little bit with this group. Hello, Phil. Oh, sorry. This one is coming to have a look at us. Phil is just asking how good is an elephant's eyesight. Oh, let's look at this one's eye since it's close enough. Little head shake there. Phil out of Texas. The eyesight of an elephant's not that great. I mean, you can't compare it to, let's say, an impala or a giraffe or a leopard. But decent eyesight, better than a rhino, for instance. But excellent smell. You could see that ellie just now when it came closer. It had the trunk up towards us, just trying to smell us as well. That was, by the way, purely curious. I mean, as I said, we've been sitting with him for a while. The eyesight's not great, but at Oh, movement plays a role. You know, 20, 30 yards, if you're sitting really still, they won't necessarily see you. But they will certainly hear you if you make a noise, and they will certainly smell you if the breeze is right. But closer up, 10, 20 yards, they can see very well in the sense that they can run full speed, 30 miles an hour or so through the bush. And obviously they won't be running into holes or trees. That was great having some questions. As well, Merkan, what a beautiful name. Merkan, if I'm saying it correctly, from Ghana. Do elephants ever get hunted by lions? Well, for this area, I'm just going to go around the side here. There's a little guy that I want to try and get you to. So let's go around a bit. In this area, we are no. We actually spoke about this last night, funny enough, sitting with a lion. There we go. It's that same one again that was playing with us just now. It seems to have a bit of a hernia at the bottom of the belly there. You can see that area there. It looks like something has been there for a while, so obviously not affecting it too much. Very healthy looking elephant, young bull. In this area that we are in, not really. In fact, never really. I'm sure there's the odd circumstance that allows for it. But in parts of Botswana, Zimbabwe, there are a few prides that have learned to hunt elephant, but it's really not a typical thing, Merkan. In this area, the lion tend to hunt buffalo most of the time. Otherwise, obviously, things like impala and so on as well. We're going to try and find another view. I want to get into the group for those little ones. There's one or two small ones in this group, but it's going to take a little time. It's a bit sort of brushy and bushy here. James and them are following up on his lions. We're really keeping our fingers crossed to find them, maybe get another roar or two while it's cool this morning. He's going to tell you what's happening there at Bushbuck Dam, and we will see you back with these ellies in a bit.
Good morning everybody. Welcome to this wonderful African dawn where there is a marabou stork currently fishing here. We are sitting, waiting to hear if there's some lions calling. There were some lions calling around here earlier. One of our guys is on foot trying to follow up on them now. Just off to the west of us here, we're having a bit of a listen and enjoying the sight of the marabou stork there that is now feeding on a tilapia. My name is James Henry, on camera is Brian, and we're going to carry on trying to follow up on those lions. It is Big Cat Week, of course, and you are on a live safari, and that means that things are very unpredictable out here, which is a very exciting thing. That is a tilapia that's being caught there, and interestingly, the marabou is not like an eagle or another bird of prey with that hooked bill that's able to cut up the meat, and so when it gets big like that, it's quite difficult for the marabou stork to actually swallow. It has to swallow its prey whole, so it's having a bit of trouble breaking it up sufficiently. They also will sort of smash it up in the beak like that to break all the bones and then swallow it, because then obviously it's much easier to digest. What a wonderful question from Laurie in Indiana. Thank you, Laurie. And just remember, everybody, you are live, which means you can talk to us anytime you like on Twitter, #SafariLIVE. Laurie, you're in Indiana, where I imagine it's probably a bit chillier than it is here. We're in the middle of our summer now. And you want to know if we here in South Africa are as interested in your American animals as you are in ours. I am certainly, and I'm amazed by wolves and bears and the buffalo that you have, and it was a great dream of mine to go and see them one day in Yellowstone National Park. And I think the American wildlife is just fascinating. And you've got big cats there, the cougars. I'd love to see a cougar or mountain lion. Your bobcats, amazing stuff that you get over there, but specifically wolves. I'd really like to see some grey wolves. There is a... Brian, what's that?
Oh. Looks like a pineapple.
It looks like a pineapple. What a very strange thing to see. Oh, well, it must be a bingo pineapple, wouldn't you say? Fascinating. Right, we're going to carry on from here, head off to in a westerly direction to see if we can catch up with those lion tracks. Let's head across to Scott on the bushwalk for that amazingly immersive wilderness experience, and we'll see you just now.
Welcome back, everyone. we're just creeping into position, the wind has changed ever so slightly. And we don't want these elephants to smell us. They've got an incredibly strong sense of smell. Oh wait, we've bumped into something else. A beautiful antelope called an inyala. And it certainly knows we're here. You can see how its ears have pricked up, listening very intently in our direction, but thankfully it's not a dangerous animal, so we don't have to worry about it too much. And as soon as it realizes exactly what we are, there it is, it's looking right at us now. It's also going to realize that there's nothing to worry about. Now, like I just said, these aren't dangerous animals, but they certainly are. And Brooklyn, who's just 10 years old, on safari with us, would like to know if I get scared whilst I'm walking. And yes, Brooklyn, right now my heart is racing because there's a massive, massive elephant, and even though they don't want to hurt us and we don't want to hurt them, sometimes they can get a little bit confused and they can chase us. But I don't think we're going to have any trouble with them today. We're being very, very careful, making sure we give them enough space. Our main aim whilst walking Brooklyn is not to get too close to the animals that we frighten them, because when the animals get scared, that's when they make decisions to chase us. And isn't it remarkable how such big animals can just disappear just like that? I don't know where they've gone, but we're going to keep looking for them and for the lion that were roaring in this area earlier this morning. Back to Pieter with some more elephants.
Well, lots of things happening out here. That waterhole, which is also, as James explained to you, where we're looking for those lions that were calling there this morning from earlier, by 3:30 this morning. We could hear them roaring in that direction, so hopefully we'll find them still soon. And that's also the area that Scott is in, so we are eyes and ears on the ground, as we say. We're still sitting this breeding out of ellies here. We're going to try and show you, if possible, what it looks like from sort of above us as well. And they're just in a little bit of sort of sticky, brushy stuff here, which is what they're eating. And we're just waiting for them to come out. They should. Ah, fantastic. This, for me, is one of the sort of coolest things when we're doing this, is to be able to see from above like that. And especially, obviously, with ellies, it's fantastic because you can see them sort of spread out, how many there are. And also, very interesting, we're close to a waterhole, which explains that sort of network, like spider webs almost, or spokes of a wheel, going to the waterhole. A very active, very popular place. This waterhole is called Treehouse Dam. Important waterhole to notice. And one of the waterholes we often see leopard at. And just fantastic to sit here with a big herd of elephant. Yeah, they seem to have relaxed now again. They were a little bit almost just aware of the drone earlier, but now they've just ignored it again, which is brilliant. Well, actually, Nathan, you can help me answer this question. Great question. Nathan just asking how many elephants are in this herd. You'll have to help me count. You can actually see it better than I can. 10, 11, it sounds like, if you look carefully, maybe a few more. And that's brilliant. The view you have now, you can see better than I can. Isn't that cool? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 somewhere. 16 perhaps, maybe one of the little ones we didn't see. So Nathan, 15, 16 ellies. Just look at that. This is where we're sitting. They're all in front of us here. And we can see them a little bit, but compare that to just how beautifully you just saw them. That's just awesome. Now, as I said, there are a couple of small ones in there, so 2 at least that I saw. But at the moment, they're just not in the sort of perfect space. It's a bit brushy, which gives us a perfect opportunity to answer questions. Well, Becky, just before we take a short break, you're just asking what's the bird in the background. I love the fact that you guys are listening because it shows that you're really in tune with your surroundings. That bird, I think the one that you're hearing is a woodland kingfisher. There it goes again. Almost like that. We're going to stay here with the kingfisher, obviously with the elephant. We'll see you back here after the short break. Okay, how awesome is this morning? Guys, we're just in a short ad break now, so we're going to reposition ourselves, get ahead of the elephant. This is a little bit tricky terrain. But tricky terrain just means you have to be a bit patient, you know, like whether you're tracking a lion or sticking with a herd of elephants. One of the most important things for anything to survive out in nature is patience. Whether it's patience of the hunter, or whether it's patience of the herbivore waiting for the rains, but patience is good. We're going to try and get a nice view. Wow, there we go. We're also having the drone around here, and again, elephants, highly intelligent animals, and they can hear it because we can hear it, but it doesn't seem to have affected them by now. They were a little bit aware earlier, now quite comfortable with it. In fact, it doesn't seem to bother them. We'll keep a close look on it. This is also a female we can recognize. She's got that almost like a hooked tusk on the right-hand side. And I know this is a herd, sorry, the days tend to blur into each other a bit, but we have seen them the other day as well, so interesting to see this. Oh, beautiful. The whole group coming out in front of us here. Look at this. That's the benefit of not having a short break. Lovely coming past. There's one of the youngsters. And I really hope that we can stick with this group like this for the rest of everyone else to join us as well. It is so exciting at the moment, having new people being exposed to the safari experience. And for that matter, having new people becoming part of this sort of team experience that we're all sharing out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you guys could count better from the air than I can from the ground, even when they're nice in the open. Ah, this is lovely. And this is what we want. You see them all around us now. Coming to have a bit of a look. Beautiful female, this one on the right. She might even be, perhaps she might be the matriarch, just looking at her size. She's very healthy, great condition. She's just been suckling. Look at the mammary gland there between the front legs. Just there, you can see the tip has been suckled on just recently. One of the calves must have had a bit of a drink. Let's just position ourselves a little bit. Again, a little reposition. About 2 minutes or so until you have to sort of sit closer together again. I do want to try and just get us in a nice position that we can another little moment or two of that herd. I'm also hoping, normally it takes about sometimes just a few minutes, but normally 15, 20 minutes that you sit with them for them to really get used to a bit more. And then once that has happened, then you start getting things where like the young ones come and have a look at you, and they start, you know, the adults, they know that we're quite relaxed, and they don't mind if the youngsters explore themselves. For me, that is one of the best things with the ellies, is once it gets to that stage where the adults have decided everything's cool, which they have, but then the young ones start getting up a little bit of courage to come and sort of have a look at you as well. You know, they're curious, they're intelligent animals. I'd love to share some of that this morning. Noisy, sticky stuff to drive through. Just go around here. I think we're going to make it. This is almost like, you know, when you look at these great behind-the-scenes stories, and I always look at it and think, I wish I could be part of that. You guys are sort of part of that at the moment. I mean, this is not behind the scenes, this is in the scene, but we are waiting for many others to join us. And as you see, unfortunately, this is the only gap. Welcome back from the break. We've just been moving a little bit and spending time with this herd, and as every minute passes, they're just getting more and more comfortable with us, so we're hoping that some of these young ones will come and have a look at us. and of course, answer a few questions. Loving the questions, by the way. I love good questions. And Madeline, you're asking a good one. What animals get along best with elephants? Yeah, I'm going to give you like a catch-22 answer on that one. The animals that get along best with elephants are unfortunately also the ones that quite often get along the worst with elephants. And that would be us. That would be, I would say at the moment, everyone sitting here, you, me, Liam on camera with me today, everyone that's part of the crew out here, I would say we all fit into that category of animals that get along best with elephants. Because everyone seems happy and we're very excited when we see them. But unfortunately also our species can be the species that gets along worse with elephants. And guys, just what a view. We had an opportunity earlier to count them. On the ground, I've only been able to count 14. So you must have a good look there. Look at the little ones. 15 it sounds like. There's a little one, hey! Oh, sorry, this is one of my favorite things in the bush, is a herd of elephant like this. Early morning, the birds are singing, and to come back to the question about who gets along best with elephant, I'm just going to turn a little bit here. There are actually a number of bird species that get along really well with elephants. Starlings and drongos, they catch the insects disturbed by the elephant. But speaking of getting along and catching things and looking for things, Hayden's going to tell you a little bit more about the lions, and we're going to get you back with these ellies again in a bit.
So, a little bachelor group of buffalo bulls. Now, these, of course, are a lion's favorite food out here. And the large prides that occur in this area, sort of 4 to 6 lionesses and attendant youngsters, will feast upon buffalo quite regularly. These are just males, so a bachelor group of bulls who are unable to stay with the rest of the herd. They're too old to fight for mating opportunities in their are made of keratin on top, so that's what that black bit is there, and you can see they've scraped that off. That grows, it continuously regenerates. Then underneath that is the skull, and so the rest of the horn is attached to the skull, and it's bone. So it's bone just like you'd find in your arm and your leg. That's what's in the middle of the horn, and that of course differentiates a horn from the antlers that the deer in America have. The deer, of course, have got those velvety antlers that come off during the course of each season, and that is not what's going on here. These ones are permanent, and if these guys lose their horns, then they won't come back again. All right, let's head across to Hayden. He's got a lion update for you, and he'll tell you a little bit about the Birmingham boys. There's marauding 5 lions that have come onto this reserve, and their favorite food is, of course, these old boys that we're looking at now. I'll see you just now.
Buffalo, absolutely one of lions' favourite food, top of the menu actually. Now there's a lot of lion activity that's been happening on the reserves over the past year, and we've been privy to some of that action that's happened right in front of our very eyes. Now 12 months ago I came around a corner, and as I drove up my cameraman VM saw a tail flick up in the air, and there was lions lying down. We nearly drove right past them. It was 5 males, a coalition. Now a coalition is normally related males, not always, but as a group that's joined forces to improve their chances. These guys were called the Birmingham boys. I've prepared a clip to introduce you to them. These 2 magnificent lions, the Matimba males, have dominated their territory unchallenged for many years. In their territory live 2 prides, made up of females and their cubs. The prides live in security and comfort. For the cubs, every day is an adventure. They spend the day exploring and playing, protected by the Matimba males. But lions' social life is seldom stable for long. Five young males known as the Birmingham boys invade from the north, looking to take over and establish a territory of their own. The 5 newcomers cause chaos. The Matimbas flee. The new males kill all the cubs under a year old. This will bring the pride's females into estrus, ensuring the future of their bloodline. It is a harsh reality, but this is nature, raw and real. Pretty incredible stuff. You only get a chance to see this between sort of 5 and 9 years when males are in their prime, so it's a great privilege to see these takeovers. The lines that we've been heard roar last night, the one that Pieter was with, is one of the Birmingham boys. 3 o'clock this morning when we were up preparing for Safari Live, we heard them again, and closer and closer. There are lions here. This is going to be a really exciting day. I've got my fingers crossed. We're going to cross back to Scott, because I tell you what, exciting stuff. Being on foot, there's nothing like it.
So, isn't it interesting stuff with that Birmingham coalition? There's actually a squirrel alarm calling nearby, and maybe those lions are lying in the bushes up here. But I'm just going to stop and show you this jawbone quickly. Evidence that predators are out here. We just need to be patient while we're looking for them. These are the molars that would grind up the vegetation that, in all likelihood, I think this is from a kudu that's been feeding on it. The vegetation of this area before, of course, the lions that caught it fed on it. But that's the circle of life. Let's carry on up ahead. The squirrel's not too far away. And we're going to try and get there as quick as possible. And we'll let you know if we find anything interesting. But for now, James is at a den site with some really cool little animals.
Awesome, James. And too good.
Everybody, that is a hyena. The hyena is here for a very special reason. In the marula tree over there is Africa's most beautiful cat, a leopard. I think she's probably got a kill in there. Hello, hyena. He's standing right next to the door, less than 2 feet from me. And the leopard is in the tree. And I think the hyenas are here probably because there's a kill in the tree. We've just come across this thing, and we're going to try and sneak a bit closer. We don't know how she will react, so we'll try and get a bit closer. I can't move right now because there is a hyena 1 foot in front of the vehicle. Excuse me. Thank you. There you can see the ears poking out the front of the car. All right, let's sneak slowly forward and get a look at that magnificent cat sitting in the tree. You know, we stopped here about 3 minutes ago. I just looked at the hyenas. I didn't look anywhere. I thought, why are they lying on the road? There it is. Now, I'm going to move very gently because to go right underneath her or him like that might be a little bit intimidating. So we'll just move very slowly. There are hyena all over the place. 1, 2, 3. It means probably that there's a kill in the tree. I'm not sure. Yes, she is very close. We don't want to drive right underneath her. I think that's a male. Looks like a young male, but I'm not sure. Difficult to say from here. What we're going to do is go past and then turn around, everyone. What I don't want to do is frighten him out, so I'm going to go past quite smoothly and then we'll turn around. There's the leopard. Oh my goodness. It is a male. Okay, we'll just turn around quickly here. Is this not so tremendously exciting? And there was some blood on the hyena's face there. So I wonder, there doesn't seem to be anything hanging in the tree. Now, Nick, you asked a very pertinent question, and I'm going to try and get in here. Every bit of noise as I go off-road, don't worry about it. Nick, while we're moving in here, you want to know if hyenas will kill leopards? Yes, hyenas will kill leopards. Hyenas will kill any other predator they can, just to reduce competition. Sometimes they'll eat them, sometimes they won't. And that's the same with just about all the predators out here. That's a scraping noise. Just don't worry about it. We're not doing any damage. Yes, we're going to get a lovely view from just around here. So Nick, mostly the hyenas will probably be here 90% of the chance that they're here because there's been a kill. There's some meat around and that's what they were doing. They wouldn't normally hang around in a tree waiting for them. Brian, as soon as you get a good shot, you let me know and I'll stop. Is that right? A little bit forward. So here we go. So he's not going to come out of the tree, I don't think, if the hyenas are there. Right, that's as far in as I'm going to go. That's the best view that we're going to get at the moment, everybody. Isn't that just incredible? So it's a male leopard. The hyenas have pinned him in the tree. Why they should have pinned him in this tree, I really don't know. Because normally what they'd do is they'd be underneath the tree if there was a kill or something like that, and there was meat in the offing, but there doesn't seem to be any meat here at all. So they've probably chased him up the tree. Now they're just waiting to see if he comes out. And it's crucial that you understand that the hyenas here are, although they're smaller than a male leopard and they're not nearly as fast, because they're in a group, they can afford to take the chance to have a fight with him. But if he gets injured, that will be the last that he eats, because he can't hunt if he's injured, so he has to be very careful. Oh, this is very special, everyone. Shannon, you want to know if they often take their kills up trees. Shannon, they do normally take their kills up trees precisely because of the hyenas in this area, and so they do often take their kills up trees. I'm just trying to identify who this chap is. We can't really see his face. Brian, if I go back a little, no. I'm going to try and sneak a little bit forward, but I just don't think it's going to be possible. That's going to be the best look we get at his face, I'm afraid. There we go. So this is a very special leopard. He's my favorite, everybody. His name is Mvula, which means rain. And in case you were wondering about snow in the area, which is a bingo word, we don't get snow in this area, but we do get rain sometimes, and this leopard is called Mvula. He's an 11-year-old male leopard. Right, so we're going to sit here, and he's sitting in a marula tree, which is a very comfortable tree for a leopard. They do like to sit in marula trees. The bark is quite smooth, but they won't by default sit in this tree. He's only in this tree because he's in danger from the hyenas. The hyenas, of course, cannot climb the tree. Seconds, but we're going to stay right here with this magnificent male leopard. He's kind of the king of Djuma. And we'll watch how this story unfolds. We'll keep you updated in the next few minutes. See you just now. Well, everyone on the internet, I'm sure many of you are absolutely fascinated by this as we are. I don't think that we can get a better view of this leopard at this stage, so let's just stay where we are for now. I could try and get to the other side there, but there's so much bush the other side of the road. Oh, how special. Totally random chance. He's in a very uncomfortable little branch there. And I'd love to claim some kind of credit for finding this leopard, but we just drove up the road and...
We found him.
We found him, but we didn't track it. Oh, wow. Thank you, hyenas, for putting him in the tree for us. That was very kind of you. 3 hyenas lurking here. Should we try a slightly different angle from the back, Brian? And then we might get... But can you see the hyenas there? You can, but not very well. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Just before we go back to TV, everyone, we'll try and get a sort of the best view that we possibly can. How's his face there, Brian? Get his... You're just a little bit too high, aren't you? There we go. I think that's the best we're going to get for now. I'm also going to have to call in the leopard for the game drives. Yeah, I think that's the best we can do. I mean, we could go a little further away. What do you think? Let's just try it. Let's give it a go before we go back to TV. Like the USS Limits. So you've got to do a 40-second turn. And that red bush willow is just perfectly screening him. Yes. I think that's the best we got. Good. So we're going back into the TV show in 1 minute's time. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Big Cat Week, and that is a big cat there. And I hope you're enjoying Big Cat Week and the wonderful things that Nat Geo Wild are showing you, the incredible cats around the world. Here, my favorite, the leopard. A male leopard, 11 years old. He's got a big fat belly on him because I suspect he was eating throughout the night. And then the hyenas must have come across his kill. and stolen it. A lovely question from all the way from West Virginia. So it sounded like the most romantic place to visit, so I shall definitely do that one day. And Renee, you want to know how long a leopard will survive in the wild? Renee, the Sabi Sands, which is where we are, has some of the best leopard viewing in the world, and therefore some of the best information on leopards. So, in this area, the oldest male leopard on record was recently died just south of us, and he was 16 years old, so that's pretty old. In captivity, Renee, they can live to up to 20 years, but out here, because life is tough and food is hard to come by, unless you are physically in tip-top condition, 16 is very old. I'd say normally 13 or 14. So, I mean, he's coming into the twilight of his years, and you can see that from his kind of torn-up ears and that sort of thing. Right, now a very brilliant and salient question here from Tammy in Iowa. We want to know what markings we can use to identify leopards. First of all, Tammy, you know, leopards are territorial, and that means that if we find a big male in a certain area, the chances are we'll recognize him just from the area that he's in. This leopard, Mvula, is recognizable from his tatty ears there. That can change, but the one thing that doesn't change, and I know that the cliche goes, the leopard never changes his spots. Well, it's absolutely true. A leopard doesn't change his spots. And if we look just below his nose, next to his nose, above the whisker line, you won't probably see it from here. We don't have quite enough zoom. There is a unique spot pattern just above the nose line there. Below the nose and just above the whiskers, there's a unique spot pattern there. And each leopard has a different one. And so if you combine that with your knowledge of the area, then that's the best way to tell. But, I mean, as some of our many at least internet viewers will tell you, all of these leopards have got different kinds of spots in different places that make them very easily identifiable. Now, Alan in Seattle and little 9-year-old Kiki, we do so love to hear from our young viewers. Thank you for your question, Kiki and Alan. Yours is no less valuable, of course. You want to know, can a leopard balance sleeping in a tree? The first thing to notice is that leopards don't sleep as soundly as human beings do in the night, or as maybe your cat at home does. So while he is dozing, he is kind of, there are bits of him that are awake, if you know what I mean. So he can sleep in a tree. I have seen leopards sleep soundly. They will balance, but if they kind of start to overbalance at all, he'll wake up very fast. So while he is dozing, he's not in a deep sleep at all. Lovely to hear from our young viewers. They, of course, are the next champions of the wilderness, and we need them to protect the Earth's last places. We're going to stay right where we are here, and from one animal lurking in a branch, we're going to take you to a much smaller, very beautiful one with Scott on the bushwalk.
How cool is this? Can you believe how lucky we are that Jandre spotted this highly camouflaged chameleon? It's currently got both of its eyes looking back at me, but it does have the ability to move them omnidirectionally, one at a time. I'm sure it won't take long before it peeks one forward at you guys, but for now, it's most concerned about myself. This one's fully grown, and just like Mvula, that beautiful male leopard you've seen up a tree, another very stealthy hunter. There he goes, now he's looking at you guys. Awesome. And isn't that incredible? What an awesome function. We as humans obviously can only look in one place at a time, but these chameleons have got twice the skills that we do, and also have the ability to shoot their tongue out about the length of their body, in this case probably about 6 inches, and it latches onto its prey, moths or grasshoppers, butterflies, and then it whips it back into its mouth and consumes it. Now this one's here sitting, hoping that we actually haven't seen it. That's why it's not moving, and that's one of their strategies. They'll just sit dead still and hope that their prey, or predators rather, can't actually detect it, and also its prey. Well, it seems like the trees are providing us with some wonderful sightings, the leopard earlier, now this, and we're going to send you across to Pete for an update on what's going on as part of the reserve.
Well, guys, what a morning. I mean, sorry, I'm just gonna, I'm very happy for James as well. Sitting with Hyena, which has been spectacular. We've had some beautiful viewing there. Suddenly finding a leopard up in the tree. That is just what Big Cat Week is about. That's what being on safari in the bush is about. And obviously sharing that moment live is the best thing ever. This gives you a view of the area around Voyatella Lodge here at Djuma. This is also very close to our camp area. We'll try and show you again just now. The view we've got down at the waterhole on our right-hand side. Not a slight breeze this morning. You can see the water is almost like a mirror. And we're here for two reasons. One is because you can always find something at waterholes, but also just this general area that basically, if you take sort of that space, that direction, between here and there, somewhere in that area, in less than a mile of distance, there's a lioness at the moment. We know this from the tracks. The guys are on the tracks, and again, they've got a beautiful view from the air. You can see where we're sitting, so the waterhole to our right. And if you were to draw a line from us through the waterhole into the bush over that dry dam area, somewhere there is a lion at the moment. We know this, and we're hoping we could find her. Guys, another question, I'm hoping we've got time for this, especially for Hayden to be able to get ready for it, because Ashton, you're asking me a question that I can answer to some extent, but hopefully Hayden can show you exactly. That's the area, and I'm hoping what might happen, and this would be brilliant if it could, is in the next 5 or 10 minutes, which is very possible, that lioness will come out here somewhere. This is the typical area they go past because they know the waterhole, and we could be here waiting for her. But Ashton, you were just asking, how long is a lion or a leopard's claw? So that you can almost call it the talon if you want, comparing it to an eagle. That's the nail in front of the feet. And why I said Hayden might answer this better, I'm hoping if there's time for him to grab it, because he's also busy with lots of things in the safari tent. But if he can grab it, he can actually show you one. I heard that he's got one in there. He's got a bunch of things that I haven't even seen. He's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve. But when they walk, Ashton, lions' feet are like this. So the toes are sort of curled up like that, and the nails are sitting sort of retractable into the nail sheath. And then when they're running and the toes come out to run, or when they're running to grab something, so if they're doing this and suddenly they're grabbing at you, those nails come out. And on a lion, it would be, like how long is a piece of string kind of thing. About that size, which would be about an inch and a bit, about 4 or 5 centimeters, the sort of the length of the nail. And that nail is let me show you how sharp that nail tip is. The nail tip is probably as sharp as that. Literally very, very, very sharp tips, the nails. So when they're grabbing, either to run into the ground, or more specifically hunting, to stretch that paw out and grab onto the prey, they've got very, very strong nails, very strong forearms. But as I said, Hayden can actually show you this in detail. So enjoy the answer more from HT Ashton, and we'll see you back here, hopefully, with a lion running out of that bush towards us.
Well, that there is a lion claw that Pieter was just talking about, and that is made of keratin, exactly the same stuff as your fingernails or hair, and that is an incredibly important weapon for a lion. Right, now, once you've got the Birmingham boys on site, those sorts of coalitions, when they move in, they have a knock-on effect. They push other prides out, other prides disperse, and then other prides come in, not even knowing that the Birmingham boys are here. That very pride be the Salala pride. They're refugees. They came in here. If they bump into the Birmingham boys, who knows what's going to happen. Check this out. The 5 young Birmingham boys have recently invaded Djuma from the north. In this chaos, the Salala pride are on the run. They find themselves on Djuma, which is not part of their core territory. They tried to avoid conflict at any cost. These lions are desperately hungry. The oldest female of the pride has no tail. One is injured from a fight with another pride. Outnumbered, young and inexperienced, 2 of the pride try to take down a buffalo in broad daylight. It's a potentially fatal mistake. In contrast, the powerful Birmingham boys settle into their new territory and kill whenever they wish. If they should meet, this could spell disaster for the young males of the displaced Salala pride. Wow, hectic stuff. Those buffalo coming back down on them were really a force to be reckoned with. Speaking of a force to be reckoned with, those Birmingham boys are here to stay, so who knows what's going to happen. They really are a force, a humbling experience to be around. From one massive cat to another incredible cat. Let's cross back to James and see what he's up to with that beautiful leopard.
Got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Oh, sorry, we're live. Here we go. That was a bingo word, everybody. There we have the leopard. And just below him, the hyenas are lurking. There are two of them there, and there's another one off to the right-hand side. Now, just to reiterate, if you haven't been around here, these hyenas, I think, stole a kill from him that he was probably eating last night. Last night, and the reason I say that is because they had blood all over their mouths, and his belly is very full. It's kind of oozing around both sides of that tree. And Leanne, you want to know why it is that these leopards move on their own the whole time. Leanne, they're solitary because it's actually a pretty effective strategy. The only social cats are lions, and I mean, that's a very long and involved and interesting discussion as to why they're social. But the cats are generally solitary, and it's a very effective strategy. They're highly territorial. It means that they can hide very easily. They don't have to share their food with anyone except themselves and except their babies. And so there is a major, that's the major reason, of course, that thank you for your question. You want to know why would a lion or a leopard ever kill a hyena? Would a leopard ever kill a lion? John, these leopards are far, far, far smaller than lions. This leopard probably weighs about 80 kilograms, which in pounds is about 180 pounds. And the lions will weigh up to, well, 200 up to about 500 pounds. So enormous, enormous lion size difference. So we'll keep watching these hyenas and the leopard. So Pieter is going to keep on the trail of those lions. We've got guys out on foot, the two trackers from the local area. Huge tracking tradition there is amongst the Shamgaan people here. And thank you for being with us today. We're going to head off now. If you want to keep watching, please join us, WildSafariLIVE.com. It's been a fantastic morning. You just never know what you're going to find out here. We'll see you tomorrow, in fact this afternoon, and then tomorrow again. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. And the leopard's looking at us. Right, hello internet people, lovely to still have you with us. This is not a very TV friendly leopard, obviously. He's hidden himself in a tree that was not particularly conducive to good viewing. But now he is at least turning his head nicely towards us now. What an amazing piece of luck we've had with him today. Brian and I were just saying we thought we'd used all our leopard luck in the last little while. We found Karula on foot 2 days ago, and then we stumbled into Kunuma on a Nyala kill. And for those of you who are perhaps joining us from the TV broadcast, Kunuma is Mvula's son, who we managed to see 2 days ago. What a joy that was. He's 3 years old now, still living in his dad's territory, but still sort of starting out on his life as a solitary territorial male leopard. He will have to move away eventually. But Mvula, like I say, is 11. He'll be 12 fairly soon. And, you know, after that, they will start to lose condition. They'll start to lose muscle mass. And when that happens, they will become far less able to look after their territories. Now, a very brilliant question here from Heidi in North Carolina. Heidi, you've seen these 3 hyenas here lurking around and pinning the leopard in the tree, because that's exactly what's going on. And Heidi, you want to know how far the hyena den is from here. Heidi, not far at all. We were actually on our way to the hyena den, spotted the hyenas in the road. There they are. Thought, oh, well, that's nice. We can show the people. Watched them for about 3 minutes, and then looked up, and there was Mvula sitting in his tree. So we're not far from the hyena den at all. I'd say probably about a quarter of a mile. Now, the leopard, of course, is not nocturnal hunter, and that means that responsible for what? The cones are responsible for color, and you can just remember the C and the C. Responsible for discerning light and dark and contrast, and we have lost, and the birds, many of them all looks sort of bluish and greenish to them. It will be a lot more pronounced than it will for us. And the interesting thing about being another great are lying under the tree that they're in. The cats do sleep for now. A day, lions up to 20. I'd say leopards probably slightly less than that, probably. And Faye in Canada, you want to know, is there a chance to kill in another tree? Yes, there quite possibly is. Here we go. There goes the leopard. He's just running. I can see him there, The hyenas have left him. Right, we're going to follow the leopard. The hyenas, we know where their den is. We'll try and follow this magnificent Mvula, the rain, territorial one in the area. Wasn't that special to see? Here he goes. Now, Sadie, please remember, tell us where you're from. It's so lovely to know where you're from. Sadie, you want to know how long a leopard can be in a tree. Sadie, they can be in a tree for as long as they need to. So if there was any kind of genuine threat, like if there were wild dogs under the tree or some lions, it's absolutely stay up there for as long as he needed to. Eventually the hyenas will go away, though. They'll get impatient, they'll want to go and find something to eat, and they'll go off there. Now he's going in some pretty bush, so if we do lose him, I'm sorry, but we have the most wonderful view of him. But I'm going to try and stay with him. We will push over the odd tree, in fact quite a few dead trees and things. It'll sound a lot worse than it is, and most of the trees will pop up behind us after we lean over them. There he is. He is watching us, and I'm just going to lower my voice a bit, even though we are making a bit of noise. I think he's going into some pretty thick stuff here. Right. I'm not sure about this lock. That way. Okay, we'll try and go through there. Nasty slump in the way. Okay, let's head across to the bushwalk with Scott. He'll show you a fascinating smaller creature, and I'll try and keep up with this leopard. See you just now.
How awesome is this caterpillar? And the wonderful thing is that we actually know what it's going to turn into. So I've got my book out and I'll show you a little bit later. This is a dice moth larvae, and they've got this incredible kind of candy stripe coloration, as well as these crazy little hairs that grow out of it. Can you believe such awesome animals exist here? Not only the wonderful big stars of the show like Mvula, and I hope James does manage to find him again, but while that we can enjoy the smaller things. What I'd like to do is show you why the adult form of animal is called a dice moth, and it's the individual in the middle of the page here, and it's quite clearly understandable now. It's got those on each wing, very similar to that. See, a lot of other wonderful moths do occur here in South Africa for now, and we're going to send you back to James, who's on the hunt for that leopard.
We're still following you through here, everyone. Wonderful caterpillar. That, excuse the noise, he is walking gently through there, and you can see his amazing. There we go. And his white tail tip flicking from side to side. Lots of interesting theories as to why they do that. One of them being that if there is a bird alarm calling or a squirrel, they'll flick that tail up, and what it does is basically tells the squirrel or the bird, I'm not after you, just let me walk by. Don't alert anything else to my presence. Flick, flick, flick. He's got a view of him. There is some water just down here. Presence. I wonder if he isn't going to go straight towards him. He's got a view of him as well. There are all such trees we're prepared to push around about the air. Look at that. That's wonderful. If you're one person or two, You want to know which has a stronger bite, a leopard or a hyena? Numbers involved. The hyena out here definitely has a stronger bite than the leopard does. The hyena apparently has, and this was put to me by Hayden yesterday, the hyena has a bite as strong as a great white shark's or a grizzly bear's, despite being so much smaller. So a hyena has a far stronger bite than leopard. That's not to say you want to be bitten by a leopard, let me tell you. Not that I've been bitten by a leopard. Brian, have you been bitten by a leopard? Oh, good. See? There you can see him moving through the area, and the bird has stopped alarm calling. So the bird stopped alarm calling, and so he's put his tail down. And keep going through here. We're going to get our last view of him here in the next little while. We will try and get around this area. But William in Richmond I swallowed an offensive insect. William, you want to know if when there's a leopard in a tree, will they hunt from there? Will they jump onto us? William, no, they won't. We're not afraid of that. It's very unusual. I've seen it once on film, and that may have been set up. They don't hunt from trees as a rule. We're going to hand you over to Pieter quickly. I'm going to try and get through this difficult area, and we'll see you on the other side of this.
Well, welcome back this side. We've actually just taken a short break as well after a brilliant hour. And just in the riverbed, you're not far from where we're looking for that lioness. Just hoping to maybe hear something or an alarm call from a, kudu or a bushbuck or something. But nothing yet. We're going to keep looking around, obviously, for lioness. Fantastic news. I mean, firstly, to know that it's Mvula. He's one of my favorite leopards. We were just chatting on the vehicle with VM as well, saying, well, firstly, all leopards are our favorite leopards, but Mvula, big male, beautiful male as well. We did find this little thing, and it's I don't think we're allowed to advertise anything, so let me do that. It is a little lion, but inside, actually what I want to show you, I found this bug, which I don't know what it is. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Look at that. It is just absolutely stunning, the colors of it. It looks like a ray. I don't even know how to explain it, except that it's absolutely gorgeous. There we go. What I'm going to do is keep it steady so you can see it, but I'm going to take it to Hayden just now. Drop it off with him so he could show you again, because it is really one of the prettiest things I've ever seen, even underneath the belly. But I'll let Hayden show you this thing properly. It's got insane colors. I mean, I saw it and I thought I just have to show this to you. So we're going to let this guy climb inside the lion, so to speak, and we'll take that to Hayden somewhere in the course of the drive so he can show you nice and close. Yes. Good comment, Tracy. Well, we're going to move along, so I just want to show you this quickly before I chat with you, Tracy. This is just one of my favorite dead trees. This is called a leadwood, and the leadwood is incredibly hard. I was actually telling Drew last night, one of the guys visiting here from Djuma Wild, and saying that this wood is extremely dense. In fact, it's denser than water. It's 1,280 kilograms a cubic meter. So 28%, call it 30% to round it off, denser than water. You cut a chunk of that wood, throw it in the water, it sinks. So those trees can sometimes stand for 1,000 years after they've died, which I always just thought is amazing. Termites, rain, sun, cold, snow, any of those things do nothing to that tree. So beautiful tree. This is a ebony. African, it's called an ebony sometimes, or a jackalberry. Beautiful tree as well. We're going to make our way up towards Gari Dam, see if we maybe get some more signs of this lioness we've been looking for, and also drop that bug off with Hayden in a bit so that you can have a good look at it. But, great! He's got Mvula again. Enjoy the leopard.
There he is, everybody. We've come through some bush that can only be more closely described as the windy impenetrable forest. We're still with him. I think he's heading towards some water, and we could just go straight round to the water, but I don't want to take the chance to lose him. I haven't spent a huge amount of time with this leopard, and he is my favorite. So I want to try and spend as long as I can with him. You may be able to hear just behind us, there's a squirrel alarm calling. They alarm call from a huge distance. I think squirrels, their little rodent eyes are extremely sharp. We also came past some nyalas, and the nyala didn't react. They kind of looked at him a little bit. He had his tail up. They didn't alarm call at him. It's very interesting. So if it does get too thick in here, everyone, we're going to have to just go straight round to the water. There he goes. So there's a dead tree that he's walking past there, and every little dead tree, of course, is a little ecosystem on its own. And one of the things that loves to eat dead trees, Scott is going to tell you about now.
Well done to James for finding the leopard again. Look at how awesome these termites are, though. It's a hive of activity here, and some of them are carrying dead bits of plant that they're going to carry underground and slowly consume. There's also a few soldiers that have got those very big mandibles that you wouldn't want to be bitten by. They're not very big, though. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my hand down here just to give you an idea of size. But really wonderful to see all this action and activity. They're incredibly important animals, the termites. These are harvester termites that live under the ground, and their mounds do not create massive castles like their cousins, the fungus-growing termites. But they all provide a very important role getting rid of dead vegetation that they'll carry down into these burrows. Look at how awesome this view is. You can see there each individual segments of the one antenna there. That's one soldier monitoring all the workers coming in and out. And you'll see them drumming their head from time to time. They shake their head in order to communicate. And isn't that fascinating? Such a high-speed movement. Very complex animals, and imagine the organization required to keep track of all these individuals hard at work. There could be millions of individuals within this colony. Awesome stuff. And isn't it fascinating how we can be enjoying sightings of the big dangerous animals as well as all of the small little critters that are equally important in this ecosystem. They all play their specific role. There's a bit more head drumming now. We can feel a few raindrops falling. I can actually see one that's just fallen right at the base of the burrow there. Can you see that tiny little raindrop there? Crazy! So, that's going to make the rest of the safari interesting. We have already put a little raincoat on the backpack that Jandre is wearing to prevent the complex technology getting you these pictures getting damaged. Awesome stuff. Well, we're going to continue on through this drizzly weather and send you across to Pieter, who's found another animal he'd like to share with you.
Well, perfect weather for, well, many creatures, certainly for termites. This is great weather for them. Normally lots of activity. Fascinating animals. I mean, if you just think of how they socially live. But from extremely social animals to an almost solitary animal, this is one of my favorite antelope that we don't really get to see very often. So this for me is up there with a beautiful leopard sighting in terms of enjoyment. This is a bushbuck, more specifically a bushbuck ram or a male. And bushbuck are in the same subfamily as kudu, that big antelope with the stripes on the side, nyala, also striped antelope on the side, but their horns are all very similar. They've got that sort of ridge that runs along the horn in a spiral shape. So they're the spiral-horned antelope. Very shy antelope. They live in these drainage lines or these little gullies. And not often that you see these ones. So this is really special for me. As I said, not only are they very pretty, but also because they're quite rare. And a little bit Bambi-esque almost. You know, you could sort of see them in being in the Bambi story and fitting in. But absolutely stunning. Great, we've got a question. Danny, great question, Danny. I'm going to answer you very shortly. I'm going to try and get you one more view of this bushbuck. see he's looking over at us now. Just because we might not see another one for the next week. Just going to move on. So maybe we see him in front. Danny, if I could sit down and talk with one animal, which animal would that be? Oh, whew. I haven't seen gorillas, Danny, to be honest. And Hayden, H2, you known from the safari tent, he's seen a lot of gorillas, and we've spoken about it many times, and he said it's absolutely one of the most unbelievable things. So perhaps a gorilla, or a bonobo maybe. Although my gut feeling here is I would love to be able to do so with an elephant. It would be amazing to sort of get the insight on how they operate. Dolphins would be interesting. A whale would be interesting. Obviously sitting down is metaphorically speaking, then we'd be floating. But African animal, ones that we might see here, I think elephant, I would learn the most from. Leopard would also be fascinating, except I wouldn't be sitting. I'd be standing, just to be ready. But guys, we're on our way to Hayden. We also going to drop that bug off for him. But just when we were sitting here, we actually looked at a hornbill which flew away. You could hear a squirrel calling in here. And the little squirrels we get here, the tree squirrels, they're smaller than the red squirrels you get in North America or in the parks in London. I've seen lots of squirrels. These are little guys, but they're often an alarm call for, well, many things. But in a drainage line like this, let me show you what's a drainage line. Here's a little view. So this is a dip down below here, or a riverbed that's dry. Often, this is where leopard love to move through, and squirrels live in these big trees. Like at the back, that tree, that would be a perfect home for a squirrel. So, just want to make sure there's not something walking around through the brush here. I mean, you never know what's next. As we found this morning, with James going in at the hyenas, and there was a leopard. So you never know what's going to happen. And speaking of James, I'm sitting with one of the big five. We'll see you back in a minute.
Look at that. We've come back to where the buffalo are. We're waiting for the water here. It's the only water for quite many miles around, and hoping that the leopard will come through here. A hyena has just come through the bushes behind us, and I wonder if he isn't also tracking the leopard. Here he comes. The youngster, he's one of the ones that was at the tree. Sorry, we're just parked in a fairly awkward position. You know, while we sit here, Danny, you were asking about what animal we'd like to sit down and have a chat with, if given a chance. Well, I've two answers to that. I think you said an old elephant bull. Certainly an old elephant bull would be a lovely one to sit and have a chat with. Just excuse the aerials there. We can't move and get both animals in the picture, so we're going to have to look at the aerials briefly. Danny, yes, an old elephant bull would be lovely to sit and chat to. But also, I think if you've ever actually spent time on foot out here, a young male leopard, like the age when Mvula was a youngster, I'll just speak forward. Look at this, the buffalo doesn't, not very happy with the hyenas there. He's taking a step forward. Look at this. It is starting to rain. Well, just a little bit, just the odd drop, which is such a blessing out here. And I'm looking carefully to see if the leopard doesn't pitch up. It's a very brave little hyena, that. There you can see the buffalo all coming up here. They just won't tolerate having a predator around the place. They just don't like it. Now, the leopard would be more circumspect than that hyena. So if he has come out here and seen the buffalo, he may have decided against coming to have a drink here. He'll just wait his time in the thick bush here. So we tried to follow him, everyone, but I'm afraid in the absence of a bulldozer to drive, we couldn't get through the bush there. And we're hoping he's going to pop out here. Mvula, which means rain, of course, as the gentle drops start to fall from this warm but grey sky. Let's go. I'm going to move the car and move around him just in case the leopard doesn't come in up from behind. Renee in West Virginia, you want to know how many animals will come to drink at a waterhole in a day? Renee, it really does depend quite largely on how dry it is and how hot it is. So this particular waterhole on a very hot day would be frequented by elephants. Oh my goodness, just look at this, Brian. Look at this little bird here. Renee, I'll get back to your question. Look at that little thing. It's like a little swallow. What he's doing there, it's a youngster. It's definitely a young bird. It's a little swallow. Or a martin, one of the two. Isn't that special? He's sitting maybe 6 feet from us. That's just spectacular. So sweet. And I think a youngster had not flown away because we're, quite nervous. At least not nervous of us because he's young. Oh, that's too sweet. There go the buffalo bulls. They're wandering off probably to have a bit of a graze. And Renee, I was just chatting to you about what comes to drink here. So in a dry, hot day, we're in a bit of a drought at the moment. You'll find elephants, buffalo, impala, nyala, kudu. Everything will come down and drink here that needs to drink. This is the only kind of fresh water for miles around. So, many, many things. It just depends on the time of year, the heat, and that sort of thing. I'm just listening to see if I can hear any birds alarm calling, a leopard possibly coming out. And then just to complete the discussion with Danny, like I said to you, Danny, I think an elephant bull is a very good one to be able to sit down with. But a male leopard on foot, a young male, they're so inquisitive that they will approach you in a completely calm and unaggressive manner, not to the extent that you could ever touch them. But they'll come and they'll spend some time kind of walking around and looking at you like this and looking behind you. That feeling is, while it's not a chat with the leopard, it is the most astonishing feeling. And Brian and I had the privilege, we were walking the other day doing a bushwalk, and we came across a termite mound, sort of a bit like this one here. It's about the same sort of height. And we looked on top of it, and there, just watching us, was Karula, the queen of Djuma, and she's an 11-year-old female leopard, and she was just watching. She didn't know we'd seen her, you see. So leopards will stay still until they're sure that you've seen them. And so I looked at her, and I saw her, and I quickly turned my head away, and I said, Brian, there's a leopard. And she didn't see us, so we moved a little bit away, and we sat down at about 50 meters or 150 feet from her. We sat down and we stared up onto the termite mound, and she watched us, and she went to sleep, and she watched us. That feeling, that kind of connection with an animal that is completely wild is profound. And I think that was just a very special experience for both of us. Not so, Brian?
Very much so.
There he is. Brian's so appreciative he's showing you his thumb. Okay, so the buffalo have moved off. I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer and have a look and see. There goes the little swallow. Blown off. So we'll sit here a little bit longer, and people often ask about the most dangerous animal out here. They think, is it a buffalo? Is it a hippopotamus? Is it perhaps a mosquito? One of the most dangerous animals out here, Scott is standing with on foot right now.
Now, this little animal is moving very, very quickly, so it's going to be difficult for you to count its legs. But it has 8. And 8 legs makes it not an insect, but an arachnid. And this arachnid is a tick. It's a parasite that sucks blood. Thankfully, it's not too interested on latching onto me yet. But if we were to leave it to its own devices, it would find a nice warm spot, probably between my legs or under my armpits. And that's where it would latch on and start sucking blood. And that incredibly beautifully colored body would fill up with blood like a little balloon. So that's that. It's moving very, very quickly, and I'm going to put it back down onto the ground, and let it carry on with its day. It's going to, often what they'll do is actually they'll wait on blades of grass. There he goes there. They'll wait on little blades of grass, and any animal that walks past they'll then latch onto, and again, like I said, they'll find a nice warm spot where there's soft skin, easy to penetrate, and then start sucking blood. Now you get birds out here called oxpeckers, and they specifically feed on these ticks, and if it wasn't for the oxpeckers there'd be huge amounts of these animals on the herbivores, like the antelope we saw earlier, the nyala, and many of the other animals like the buffalo you saw that was nearby that hyena having a drink. That sounded like fun. So very important for the ecosystem, I guess, in keeping weak animals out of the ecosystem. Those ticks will bring their health down, but also looking after the oxpeckers, those birds that feed specifically on them. Thankfully the rain has died down, so it doesn't look like our safari is going to be interrupted. We've got a question through from Barbara regarding those termites we saw a little bit earlier on, and good to have you with us, Barbara. She would like to know whether the soldiers that we saw were actually ants or termites, and they're all termites. You get many different types of termites. Were actually ants or termites, and they're all termites. You get many different types of termites within a colony, Barbara. You get the workers, you sometimes get two different sides.
So we're actually going to go to Hayden now, given a beautiful beetle, see if we can figure out what it's called. I actually don't know what that is called, but I would guess something like an emerald beetle or a safari tent. So we're actually going to go to Hayden now, something like a beautiful beetle, see if we can figure out what it's called. I actually don't know what that is called, but I would guess something like an emerald beetle or a jewel box or something like that. It's just beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful insects I've ever seen. So looking forward to getting Hayden to having a close look at it, and maybe even some of the detail. I was looking at it closely just now, around the head, the thorax, the front part of the beetle, on the wings, even on the belly, on the side here where the legs are. So that is amazingly beautiful, sort of detailed marking. So looking forward to HT's sort of in-depth analysis of that bug. And obviously the last part of the morning drive, we have 25 minutes, give or take, to go. So lots of things that can happen. And also, so there's a few things I'm thinking about. It is a nice opportunity this week. You know me, I like to do these, sort of show you a little bit more what's going on here. So it's going to be fantastic to show you the safari tent where Hayden is sitting, and I can see a whole team of people there, and I can show you a few of the people as well. They're all there. This is the brilliant, passionate, visionary, excited crew of WildEarth, and all the different aspects of it. So there's the tent. Sorry, Damon, I just missed part of your comment there. That's the tent. That's where HT is sitting. Yeah, Damien, this is sort of almost contradicting itself with temperatures. We are in summer. It can be extremely hot. We get up to well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in summer. But at the same time, when it's like today, when it's a bit rainy and overcast, you can see I'm wearing a fleece. It's quite cold. And so yeah, it does vary. Generally hot, but rainy conditions like this can be quite cool. And there's a lovely view of the safari tent. There's some of the crew as well sitting around the fire area. And the vehicle, the Land Rover you see in the back there, that's the one from the drone. Morning. May we say good morning to you? There we go. I just thought they might be a little bit shy. These guys aren't that used to cameras. And I want to quickly say hello because we don't see her very often. We have to look over on the right. Sorry, I'm going to insist now. Emily! Fantastic to have you here. Lou had a birthday just the other day. James the pilot. Eugene fixing and looking after everything for us. Jamie. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Mr. Wallington, of course. There we go. Guys, unfortunately, I'm all... Oh, well, let me show you this thing quickly. I'm cabled up here, but give me a second.
Hello there.
Mr. Turner.
For beetle, I'm yet to know exactly what species, so you might have to bear with me. I might even have to try to go back to the bush. No. So bushwalk and then do a little bit of research on this, but I'm pretty sure it's a jewel beetle of some description, and under the microscope we'll get a really nice look at the exoskeleton, the iridescent colours of it. Hello, buddy. Hey. You all right, mate? Take a seat. Take a seat.
Where's the coffee?
Actually,
sorry, this is mine. Sorry, I'm going to go.
There you go. There's your coffee.
May I actually sit?
Yeah, that's what the seat's for. There you go.
I didn't expect this. Sorry, I was
steaming
being a
coffee.
Bit facetious there. So that
right,
is
give us a look. So it's alive, which is always fantastic on television.
Guys, I'm not going to talk too much because I tend to do that. Also, it's just lovely to be with a buddy of mine looking at cool things.
Pop it in there. See if we can get it in there.
Thing ever.
It's gorgeous. We'll just
underneath
have to
as well, on the belly.
Okay, we just want to try up the other way.
Plus, this is the first time I'm actually sitting here with you, seeing all your skulls and everything.
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
Kinda. It's way cool. This is
right,
awesome.
now I'm just going to put under the microscope here. I know. We have that problem up here. Oops. I'm going to just cross over to the microscope for a second. Okay, now this little guy's going to try and get out, but have a look at the colours. Have a look at the colours. I think, just let me focus this, guys. I do apologise. It's just very tricky. There we go. So it's a magnificent jewel beetle, and there's a lot of different species. So what I'm going to try and do is do a bit of research for you in the break after we cross back to James. But you can see that fantastic, and bugs and all different insects play a huge role. As Scott was saying, with that beautiful sequence that he did with the termites there, he really told you, and it sort of emphasized how important it is that every single creature fits into the ecosystem, and every single creature has a specific role. And that beautiful creature there is alive, and we'll take it back to where we found it, but have a look at that, those magnificent colors. And
I find it outside in the bush, so it's quite easy to take it back, luckily.
Yeah, but it's always great to take them back to the area where we found them, isn't it? Let me just get that down. Look at that.
Oh, it's stunning. Look at the spots.
Really, really beautiful. I'm just moving. He's walking around the edge of my little Petri dish here, and I'm just really, really cool. So what we'll do... Thank you, sir. Great thing to bring, and fantastic to have you here. Take a seat while we cross back to Scotty, and Scotty's got another beautiful, beautiful insect with gorgeous colours on it as well. Let's see what he's up to.
Look at that.
Can you believe how awesome this is? It's a robber fly, so it's a predatory fly, and you'll see those little hairy spikes on its legs. It'll use those as it latches onto its prey. What it'll do is it'll fly up and wrap all 6 legs around its prey, creating a kind of a basket. Those little hairs that you can see will aid in keeping the prey away from the fly if the prey is harmful in any way. And then it'll use this very, very sharp proboscis sticking out of its mouth to penetrate either the eyes or the skull of their prey, and then they'll suck out the hemolymph or bodily fluids. How cool is this animal? We've been so spoiled with the predators this morning, a lot of which have been quite small, not just the big leopard, but the chameleon earlier, then the robber fly now, a spider earlier. So lots of awesome predators out here in the African wilderness. Now, as much as I'm loving this incredible view of the robber fly, there's another interesting animal in a small marula tree next to us. So let's show you that. So I'm going to put the robber fly back exactly where I found it. They like to hunt from very set places, and this is exactly where we found it. So we're going to put it back without disturbing it, and we try and do that as much as possible, create as little disturbance as possible. And then I'm going to point out an interesting bug. I don't have a clue what it is, but again, it's got awesome coloration and a really nice antenna, and it seems to be feeding on some sap from this tiny baby marula tree. And you can see this strange kind of growth just above the bug. That's been caused, I'm fairly certain, by the bug. And you can see it's full-bellied. Its wing casing is kind of half the size of its abdomen at the moment, indicating to me that it's eaten twice as much as it usually would have. So a time of plenty for this little bug. And oh, look what I've just spotted here. It's an Utica, or an egg case. It looks like for a praying mantis. They've got this very distinct seam down the middle. And that, like I said, is an egg case, also known as an Utica, of, in all likelihood, another wonderful insect we find in this area. Oh, no way, there's another one. Jandre, come round this side. There's another little bug. This side, sorry. And it's over here. It looks like a little crab spider. Just over here. And it's incredible how if you just stop and look closely at your surroundings, you can often find so much going on. You just need to take the time and the effort to go through things with a fine tooth comb, and that way you get to learn about the other interesting animals in the African wilderness. Awesome stuff. Well, we're going to send you over to James, who's found you another interesting critter that roams through the grass and the ground.
Now everybody, it is Big Cat Week, and this bug, or creepy crawly if you like, is an ant lion, so very appropriate for Big Cat Week. And what he's doing is trying desperately to get away from me. His little mouth is moving, and his little mouth is moving because he is savaging my thumb. And I've taken great personal risk, of course, to bring you the delights that is this ant lion. They look a little bit like dragonflies, and I'm just going to move him around a little bit so you can see. But you can tell the difference because they rest with their wings folded, unlike a dragonfly, which of course rests with its wings out. And Brian, you might be able to zoom in on the incredible injury that he's done me. Can you see the little white bits of skin there? Incredibly nasty injury. So this is the ant lion. They don't have a sting at all. And their larvae, and I'm going to let him go now, their larvae eat ants. They're voracious ant predators, and that's why they're called ant lions. So we're going to let him fly off. Wonderful. And in the left-hand side there, of course, you can see the hyena. We've come to the tree where Mvula was. There was definitely a little bit of carcass underneath here, and I think these hyenas have finished off whatever Mvula was eating today. One or two vehicles drove down this road this morning before we saw him. I suspect very strongly that he was in a thicket here. It's a very thick bush. You saw how thick it is. And possibly underneath that bush there, I suspect he was eating whatever it was, a duiker. It looked very full, so it may have been a duiker or a steenbok. And I think he was discovered by the hyenas, and he disappeared up the tree. I'm pretty sure the hyenas then finished off his meal. Just as he left, one of them had a piece of bone in his mouth, and I think that's what was going on here. What an amazing stroke of luck. We're going to head off towards the hyena den, see if we can get an update on that little cub. Because it's cool, I suspect they might still be out. But let's see. Let us head along our way. Brian, you didn't seem particularly concerned.
No, I thought you'd be in a bit of one.
No.
Sorry, James.
You know, quite often the adults of various insect species don't feed. So some of the moth species and some of the ant lions. And you get in North America, of course, you get those huge explosions of mayflies. Those mayflies, and the mayflies don't eat at all. So often the adults pure, function to breed, lay the eggs, and then they die. They often don't even have a functioning mouth part. They often don't even have, they don't have an alimentary canal. They don't have a digestive tract. It's quite amazing. Those antlions, that one definitely had some fairly voracious mouth parts, but I don't know that they eat too much. I think they do a lot, and that's probably more for defense than it is for catching anything to eat. And they certainly don't eat ants when they're adults. Amy Spooner, you ask a very, very pertinent question, and it's certainly something I notice when I travel overseas, the difference. You say the plants out here seem to have a lot of thorns on them. Yes, lots and lots of thorns, Amy, and there's a constant evolutionary arms race going on here. You say, how does it affect the animals? Well, there's an evolutionary arms race, like I say. So while the plants have evolved thorns to stop being eaten, so the herbivores have evolved various strategies to cope with the thorns that get them. Giraffe have these kind of, they produce lots of saliva which helps their mouths to slip over the thorns. Elephants just are not affected by it. They've got extremely thick skins, don't seem to be affected by thorns at all. The baboons and monkeys will climb happily on the most thorny trees. They've just evolved various strategies to cope with it, to cope with thorns, and I think that's it's just part of that evolutionary arms race that is going on out here. There we go. I think the little one is out. This mother is certainly out. I'm going to sneak very slowly in here. Mother is definitely out. The baby, let's see at this stage. Right there, Brian? No, the baby isn't out. But the mother is. So we'll sit here a little while and see if the youngster doesn't come. This is definitely one of the older members of the hyena den. She's definitely got blood all over her face. Had a good feed today on something, I suspect, the spoils of Mvula's kill. So for those of you perhaps joining us for the first time, this termite mound, this castle of clay behind us, used to be, it's probably hundreds of years old, used to be the mound of a termite. Oh, not one termite. Of course, one termite would have struggled to build that. Millions of termites. And it would have been opened up. You can see the hole there at the top. That would have been opened up by an ant bear or aardvark. First word in the English dictionary. And then modified by the hyenas. Now, Anne, you've been watching the hyenas today, and you say, what is the purpose of the back section being shorter than the front section? And you may have noticed that it's very similar to that of a wildebeest, the design, and it's an adaptation. There are two reasons for it. One of the adaptations is for stamina. Hyenas can move huge distances. They can run at this sort of loping canter for many, many kilometers without getting tired. So that's one of the things that hyenas are able to do because of that design. Also, they have to support those tremendous jaw muscles, and I think that's one of the main reasons that they have that kind of height in front of them. Those shoulders are carrying most of the weight. Not on this particular one. This is a very fatty. She's just had a big meal. Now, this is quite interesting. We've just been learning about it. We've done a lot of hyena learning in the last little while. I am going to postulate that this is a lower-ranking female that has got the cub inside the den here. The reason for that is that higher-ranking females will normally bring their kills back to the den and feed their cubs from the kill here. She looks to me like she's eaten. She may have eaten here, but maybe away from the den. So if she ate away from the den, the low-ranking females will normally do that. They'll find something to eat away from the den, try and convert that into milk before bringing it back to the den to feed their youngsters. The higher-ranking ones, because they monopolize feeding opportunities, will bring meat back to the den. So it'd be interesting to know if she actually brought anything back here, or if she ate quickly wherever she found it and then came back to suckle her youngster. whatever it was a lot. You see the blood all over her face. They're not nearly as fastidious about their hygiene as some of the cats are. Oh, head up. All right, we're going to sit here for a little while and wait and see if the youngster doesn't come out, or if some of those other hyenas don't pitch up here. They certainly seem to be coming in this direction. Let's head across to Pieter, see what he's got to show you, and we'll sit right here.
Well guys, welcome back in the sky. We are just past what we call Power Line Road, which is the road on the power line, obviously running towards Wetela Lodge. And we're on our way to Impala Plains, which is not only a nice area to see, it's a beautiful place, but it's a nice open area. You quite often find impala in that area, wildebeest. So let's see what we can find. There's a bit of time left. Where are we now? It's 7-8 minutes left of the drive. So that gives us about 7 or 8 times 60 seconds if we could spot something. It's a lot of opportunity. I'm going to keep looking around. So I actually want to say this every time, and I don't, but isn't it just so cool to be able to have this view, just echoing the sentiments from Final Control there, guys. And the TV shows, it's so busy we don't get to say good morning to everyone, but Tara and Nikki. Oh, cool, you can see how we covered. We're ready for the rain, very important. If the rain comes, we're going to stick it out here. We are prepared for it. In fact, I'm even hoping it's going to rain this week. I would love to take you on safari in the rain. It is a beautiful way to experience nature as well. And of course, you have the massive benefit that you'll be dry and that you can go and get coffee whenever you want. So I do hope we get to have at least one drive together in mild rain. And yeah, just as I was saying, just a big good morning to everyone in the control room this morning. Nikki and Tara and Kirsty and Jerry, Pieter, Alex, everyone. It's not always time to do so. It is fantastic to be part of this amazing team. And yeah, let's see what we find. Impala Plains just around the corner. Okay, what's that? Tracks on the road. Big animals walked here. Hey! I think HD's got some more in-depth information on that precious little insect we brought him. So I'll see you back in a bit. If not, see you for the PM Safari, Sunset Safari later on.
Right, we've got it. What a beautiful beetle it is. And have a look under the microscope. Just check this out. It is a magical looking creature. And insects are so beautiful. You've seen so many great ones with Scott on this bushwalk and with James yesterday. This is a rainbow shield bug. Now, we had one of our viewers, I think it was Angela, I'm hoping I got the name right, noticed that it only had one antennae. Probably one was broken off. Ellen it was. I do apologise, Ellen and Dave. Thank you very much for noticing that. Just before we came live, it did have... it was cleaning that antennae, and that antennae is basically the animal's communicate, or the way that it sees, or the way that it feels around, and if there's any dirt or any moisture on that, they will clean them quite often. You see it in centipedes and many other creatures as well. These guys get to about 12 to 14 millimeters long, and they're really obvious when you see those rows of black dots along their back. They're common throughout sub-Saharan Africa, so right down to South Africa where we are, and they're highly mobile. They haven't flown yet. I've got the lid off this little guy at the moment, and he hasn't flown away, so I hope he stays for a little bit longer. And they basically eat whatever food source is available for them. They'll eat anything really, and they're just a really super cool creature. And to get them under the microscope and see those beautiful colours. They do eat a lot of poisonous plants as well. Some of the euphorbias here that are not palatable to many other creatures, these guys will eat. So a rainbow shield bug. And how fantastic is that? We are going to go across to another beautiful insect. It's Insect Central this morning with Scotty on the bushwalk. See you soon.
Look at how awesome the coloration is on this young, elegant grasshopper. It's going to be about 4 or 5 times bigger once it's fully grown. but it still has this wonderful bright coloration. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my finger there just to give you an idea of how small it actually is. It's minute. There we go. There you get an idea of how small it is. And one of the many little critters that we got to share with you on this morning's bushwalk. It's been so much fun, and it's been wonderful having you all along. Thanks so much for your questions and comments. And until next time, we're going to send you out to enjoy some hyena.
So we are still with our hyena. She's sleeping in sweet repose. And there are a few things I just wanted to show you about this after we've watched the leopard in the tree. If you look at the claws, you can see the claws sticking out of the feet, and that's just like a dog's claws. Now remember, hyenas, of course, are more closely related to cats than they are to dogs, but their claws resemble the canids far more closely. And those claws are totally useless for climbing, and that's why a leopard is just very easily able to get away from a hyena. William Pooley, you want to know how we can prove that this is a live drive? Well, William, you've just asked your question. So, I mean, that's how we're going to prove it. This is live. I say sometimes, which means that it can't be very scripted. The camera jerks around a bit, which wouldn't be the case if it was edited, of course. And if it wasn't live and it was Big Cat Week, well, we'd have just edited together some amazing shots of leopards and lions devouring various bits and pieces around the place, William. We are live, and you are talking to us, and that is just the most special thing in the world, I think. Don't you? Live safari from here in Africa, the magnificence of the Greater Kruger National Park. So thank you, William Pooley, for your question. I think it was a question rather than an slight veiled attack. But William, we are live. We are real. It's been an incredible morning, and I thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. It really is a true privilege to be able to jump on, as Hayden uses the term, the largest safari vehicle in the world. Well, that's exactly what it is. So thank you, everybody, for your questions and comments. Let's have a we're going to say goodbye to you now. Thank you, Brian, for your efforts today. We're going to get a last shot from the air over quarantine clearings, and we'll see you this afternoon. Bye-bye.